We continue in our studies of the genealogies as contained in Genesis chapter 5. We continue now in verse 25 to verse 27. And it says this, and Methuselah lived 187 years and begot Lamech. And Methuselah lived after he begot Lamech 782 years and begot sons and daughters. And all the days of Methuselah were 969 years, and he died. Now that Methuselah's death is kind of a sad event. Now explain why, starting right now. Now Methuselah fathered the second Lamech. As much as the first Lamech, born from Cain's line, was arrogant and wild, this Lamech was righteous and more humble, from whom Noah, his future son, would see an example to be followed. Yes, our next study shows that Lamech begot Noah. Both Enoch and Lamech were the only two of the righteous line of Seth that did not outlive their parents. Enoch was taken by God, and Lamech died 5 years before the year of the great flood. And Methuselah's death. Do you realize Methuselah died at the flood? I personally believe God did this as an act of mercy to spare Lamech from physically witnessing God's colossal, terrible, and total judgment. Folks, it must have been horrible. But so were the people. This is why God did it. Oh, we're going to get there. Well, as for Enoch, he went straight to heaven without dying, as stated in Hebrews 11, verse 5, which we read last session. Enoch was translated that he should not see death, and was not found, because God had translated him. For before his translation, he had this testimony, that he pleased God, or as the book of Genesis said, he walked with God. Wouldn't that be a beautiful epitaph on my gravestone? Bernie walked with God. Wow. Or here lies a righteous dude. Or something like that. Wouldn't that be beautiful? Anyway, I'm going back to this. Perhaps his bodily translation was a sign of hope that ultimately reconciliation with God includes victory over death. And as we have in the New Testament, death, where is thy sting? Hallelujah. Where's your victory? We've overcome it. When we sing a praise song that says, we walk out of that grave. Jesus himself said, though you're dead, yet shall ye live. That Enoch was taken. Yes, that was a beautiful sign of hope. Methuselah lived 969 years before he died during the year of the flood. How did I get that? Well, we did some simple math as we counted out the lives of all the righteous people that God chose to mention. Methuselah's life was the longest life ever recorded. One commentator suggested that this long life testified to God's long suffering, as recorded in 1 Peter 3 verse 20, where people were disobedient when once the long suffering of God waited in the days of Noah while the ark was preparing, wherein few, that is 8 souls, were saved by water. This commentator, Henry Morris, suggests that after Methuselah died, then the world was destroyed. But I'm not so sure. You see, I wonder if Methuselah also got swayed after his long life by overwhelming evil and died with the flood. In the next chapter, in chapter 6, it is implied that only Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. Genesis 6, verse 8. That would be sad. That means all the righteous line, which were supposed to know God, got polluted and turned against God. Let's hope we don't end up being among those who doubt God and hate God. You know what? I will remain true to Jesus Christ, no matter what.